Ewa ana ewa lo ne mo lo ne me mo mama akwa na ma lo ne ma da lo ne ma lo ne ma da lo ma lo mo ye lo na we lo ne mo lo ne mo ma de mo lo ne mo ma de mo lo ne mo ma de mo ke kuna ya lo ewa wana ewa Muna wewe lo momie kuna wewe lo ne mo ya lo ne mo ngaba de bobo ana do bona o ga egina ana do bona o ga egina ewa ana ewa lo ne wanu na moye lo ne wanu na moye lo ne wanu na wera boga egina ye me wera boga egina ye dono egana dongela nyama ana egana lobo karenye dua lobo ana dua lobo ana ele ngabemwe ana ele ngabemwe ya kuna lobo miwa ena we ngalo nyamima ya londe ma ngawade ibobo ya londe ma ngawade ibobo ana elo ngabemwe ewara ana ewo ewara ana ewo ana elo egawa o yana we lomoliwa kuno na we lo ne mi moe ya de mama bate ibobo ana kwetumo ana adopanye ana adopanyo malomo na wasanyo Sandala juwa ba walomo Engano wale kamo boka balu nebubo Ewala ana ewa lo ne wanu na ye ana ewa lo ne wanu na ye Mwadana omano taona duale ngabemwe wale kuna moke munerubo Davalie de nyangela Yeka na bebo age lo nebo Dava poedia liba mwalo Kayele liba teo Kayele liba walomo Dale nyarela duwa mwebu Nyangwe da mongu kwe Nyanga duba duga monu kwe Kedale ya malo wawo kubale ye Kobaleye peraga ye debo Ya moyo ya mo babalo mema Mano ne kobaleye ma Ya mo babaleye ma Ya mo babaleye ma Wedana de lo morebo Da de na ba de ngama ya modia De ya ke ya ba lo ngwe Ya no wo baleye ma Ya no wo baleye ma peraga ye debo Ewa ana ewa lo de manu na muye Lo de manu ewa ana ewa lo de manu na muye Ana ewa Analine, where I galo never. Analine, where I galo never. Anaelo, malo no, na sanyo. Malo no, na sanyo. Monge bye, casanyo. Monge bye, casanyo. Monge bye, casanyo. When you're wing and one, when you're wing and one.
Okay, let's get a ball rolling here. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's pause this music. Thank you so much. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us here. Running late here this evening is part of our community engagement. We're involved in other community initiated, of course, that will not deter us to come to have a conversation with us, because we anticipate that you're going to be right here with us, so we can just let it nice slip by. It doesn't matter if we spend even 30 minutes here, so we will do that. I am Alfonso Zay-Nsot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome all our viewers and listeners to Mr. Abraham Komba. Thank you so much. Good to have you here. Madam Toricha Hammond, I believe, from Philly. Thank you so much for your commitment to this network. We really, really do appreciate. Fatu Toure, Dribble Crew Boy. The Crew Boy, he's always here, always making contribution, calling, expressing his views, opinions, and that's what we love doing here. Joel Lee, Pushpa Laha, Vasco the man is here. Tom Sherman, Veronica P. Davis, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your locations. And Mr. Gifford himself. And LPR congressional correspondent James Kaba, Tanya Kaba is in the house. Man, you up at this sort of time. Hopefully the network situation is improving. Anthony Nemo and all of you guys who want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. We sincerely apologize for running late yet, hour late. But you know what? It's better late than never. The analysts, there was a sample here. And we're going to have an open mic conversation here that is ongoing. I'm Alfonso Zay-Nsot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Let's get the ball rolling here. No time to waste. Welcome to the show. Okay, the Star Chroma is in the house. We want to say welcome. Thank you for joining us here. This is the Executive Mansions of the Republic of Liberia. That's the official residency of the President of the Republic of Liberia. His Excellency Jose Newman Boyka. This building is what all of the politicians were all scrambling to be the chief occupant. Now, the old man is there. And he's there until after the first 6 years. Then perhaps my man, Dr. Jones, and myself will try to bring our campaign, because it looks like in our country, you better scream for a politician. You better yell. You better do some crazy stuff, and then you're going to be accommodated. Are we all willing to, is that all we all should be doing? I want to welcome my own big brother here, Mr. Soul. Jerry is in the house. Thank you so much. Lucky. Katashi. People are so creative. Thank you. I'll be breaking my guy. You see here, please like the page, please share the page, please subscribe to the page. Here comes Louis Moore. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm not sure where you're based, so we're just going to throw all out there to whatever that is applicable, then to accept. Okay, so we're going to have a conversation here in an open mic. And the line will be activated as quick as possible. So too much of things go ongoing in our country, and I think we all need to have a conversation here. the 10-year business, the war crime, and the budget hinking. So, to talking about the country, there's too much of holidays. I'm not sure whether it's even doing us good. The conversation is huge. Everybody have their own interpretation in terms of what is happening. Or if we are to have all of these presidents that we have uh, begin to have a selected or selective holidays for them, I'm wondering whether somebody is thinking the amount of revenue that government forfeit, lose in a day. Joseph Jenkins Rawat, William V.S. Todman, this, that. Why not put them in one basket of this portable and just call it National President Day? So we don't want to call it other name. We already don't have in these sort of endless holidays. Even this country, the one is a richer country, they are very, very much strategic with they have holidays, they have working holidays and all of that. Part of that is because they want to keep government running. And to run the government, it's not easy as we think it to be. So these people, they are very strategic, in making sure the wheel of the country industry is turning. We're going to take a quick commercial break. My man is doing one or two things, and to the rest of the analysts, the link is out. We sincerely apologize for running late here, but again, sometimes we have. We're asked to cover the event here this event for most of you, for some of you that watch it. It's a lady that passed away. She's based in the Ocean State of Rhode Island, and we will be there again tomorrow morning. Okay, but let me bring in Dr. Jones Otavia. Mali is a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio, based right here in my own city, right within my proximity in the city of Pawtucket. The two independent voices on this network, as I say. And this is why when I told them the Lpr and his followers, some of his talking heads, the Sissy Goyo, Terry, and Amos George, the 1% guy from Atlanta, Georgia, then they get upset. But as a matter of fact, we are the only two independent voices on this network. Lpr can he dance. He will align himself with people, and then he walks back and think that he's a good guy. But we say congratulations to the Lpr Progressive. His daughter is graduating today. So the total man going to be all in it. The total man going to be in it. So let's take the quick commercial break, and I'm going to be breaking Dr. Jones so we can have a quick push around here before we conclude the evening. Again, our sincere apology. But by the way, if you have event, it doesn't matter where you are. Reach out, and we will always be there. Let's take this break here quickly here from the Lover Boy, and we will be right back.
Hello, listeners. This is Mazola, the Lover Boy. I'd like to invite you to this exciting program. It is called Dancing for Jesus. It is intended to play beautiful inspirational music to help you turn your life to God. Join me on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our way of showing appreciation to God for the good things He has done for us and continue to do. Don't miss this opportunity. Join Mazola Gizi on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the program Dancing for Jesus. Please be there because I will be here to rock it up for you.
Okay, there you have it. Please be there because you will be there to rock it down for you. Okay, let me bring time is fast spent. Let me bring in Dr. Jones and of course, let's start Clark Fredericks. Good to have you here. Thank you so much always for your commitment here and to all of the rest of the folks. Let me join Dr. Jones and bring him in here. Let's have a little conversation here before this Friday evening here wraps up. Are you there, Dr. Jones?
Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah, I'm saying that the beautiful city that is a. Are you moving or what? Why you decide to replace the flag? Or the thing you want
Well,
out of the thing you
I
want out
think
of the flag, the thing you want out of the flag, you got it already, right?
no, not that. It's like these are some of the results when you having a good consultant.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're so hard. I keep people on it network. Why you there? Well, so who the consultant? So they will be consulting with them.
No, I want for the panel to be curious to know who the consultant, because if I can be satisfied with that work, then you must know that consultant very up to date.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that consultant went through a lot of thorough scrutiny.
Yeah.
And so he stand a chance to be recommended. But I want to see though panelists will be interested in the consultant are dealing with that have given me some things where I'm fully satisfied, that have even replaced the one the almighty flair.
Fully satisfied. That's a huge word though. Fully. Nothing, no half. Okay. Thank you for jumping in here again. Our sincere apologies.
Yeah, I
Sometimes.
was even thinking, I said, looking at we're not coming on.
Yeah, Reverend Paul, they let last minute time outreach, and something that has to do with the community, then it makes it difficult. People call you, bake you when they start. When Reverend start, I bake you now, then you will know, because if you don't do it, they will start. A lot of things gonna be happening over.
Oh
But it's all this is part of the calling, and so I just have to call, and my apologies. I'm sure I hit a message in the group to let them know as well, but. It is why it is. It better say than never. Okay, Dr. Jones, good to have you here. And happy Friday. What you been doing all day, my man?
Well, all day I've been working on certain thing about my graduation, and I've been also talking to few publishing company because I trying to transform this dissertation into a book.
Okay.
And so far so good. Been spending some time the whole today in the library anyway.
Yeah. So why you want to transform it into a book?
Normally this is what happens. Yeah, dissertation is a sample of a book. In fact, it has all the characteristic, all that thing inside. Yes, introduction, this, but it's more. It's I think it's more than a book. It's almost like a research tools for people who want to make a follow up on what I have done. So this is where in there you have something called feature research. You see, so to get to the feature research that I put in there, first of all, I was able to identify a problem.
And you find and you just a solution to the problem as well, or you just identify and leave it with us?
No, in the academia, especially in the doctoral program, first of all, you got to identify a problem. And in addition to that, you got to locate a gap in someone else's work. Because whosoever did their work, they got a gap there.
So you're looking for the missing link?
Yes, a missing link. And that other person who gave off that missing link also took a missing link from somewhere. So it's a continual thing. Yes.
What is the essence of that? Let's have this, you have brought up happiness. Let's create some sort of awareness, openness.
Well, I think it's just part of the academia. I think so. Yes, I think it's just part of that whole structure. Because I've been asking, oh, why? So it's not like in the academia where I sit down and say, okay, this is what I did initially, and my whole paper was thrown outside the window.
Oh,
yes. When I was told when I was told to bring in a dissertation topic, I didn't know that it has to be driven by literature. So I just went, I pick up a topic about Liberia. I said, oh.
You think that your 555 political party that what you want?
I said, okay, when I take the topic about Liberia, how to improve our educational system, I think with my research and other things, it will help me. Behold, I was on the wrong track. So when I met my doctoral committee, first of all, they asked me how you arrive at your topic. And I told them, I said, oh, I was in love with this thing. They say in the academia, you don't fall in love with anything. It has to be literature driven. I said, oh, really?
More or less a literal work.
So the first time they throw the whole thing outside, in the first place, the people say, you just come from war. What are the reliable data in our place to support this thing?
Oh,
how do we verify it? I was caught between the Caesar. I didn't even know what to do. So I had to
the money I think I called and action to you.
yeah.
Can you imagine after doing all of those things they say, my man?
Oh, yes. And that's a whole semester that brought me to that level. I had to start all over. In fact, I had to go to one class again to see how because most of the students, you will love something, but in the academia, that's not how you're supposed to go. So how you supposed to go in that class? I was told you got to go read literature.
So let me move to the Friday.
I read material. I read a whole lot of credible material in the academia. Someone they call it the peer paper. People produce paper, you know. So when I was reading this thing now, it was when I identified a gap in someone else's work. So it was based on a gap now, I decided to identify the problem, and that how now I started moving. So when I went back now, I told them how I arrived at this thing. They said, very good. That's how you do it. You don't just go pick up topic from somewhere. Oh, I love it. It does not love business here. It got to be rich.
You a new Jew you met before. I love it.
So I told the people, I said, but the thing is in line with Liberia, I want to improve my income. He said, no, but that's not how it go. We don't do it like that. I know you love it, but that's not how it works. I said, so what do I do?
You speak Loma to the man or Gizzy?
I said, well, so the person, you got to go read the literature and you got to identify a gap in our literature. And based on that gap, you have to bear on it. The next thing, it's going to help you identify the problem. Then within that now, you will have to come up with a topic. Then you use that gap as a justification for the topic. I said, oh, I didn't know all of these things. I just thought I'm a poor boy from Liberia, my university, my educational system down. So I'll just pick a topic that will improve it. And later on, put it into this thing called a dissertation. She said, no, it doesn't work like that, woman. I said, oh, thank you very much. You see?
The way you hide it.
And here is the other aspect. I got to find related literature connected to this thing here. I can't be talking about educational leadership. Then I'm talking about politics. No, they're going to throw the paper outside again. Then I'm talking about LPR, how it helping the no, it's not related. Everything I'm reading now, it got to be in that direction there.
So I know that one word you not use because the way you follow argument, like I say, I come in now. I don't think you don't use that word there.
What word?
I come in now. And you know when you and Paul argue, I come in now, then you try to find point to justify your
no, in the first place, in that discussion, you got to think before you speak. You're not rushing. And they're not argument. You are convincing people who've been there before and they're just looking at you.
That's what I said. The war is like a bark of a tree. When it comes out, another way we can get, we throw it and finish one grab it. Oh no, I would say that I would say I didn't say
so no. When you finish, then one papa will just come and say, that role you took just now, is far from what we're talking here. You got to tell us something, Mr. Marley. So you got to go back again and come back two weeks from now. This is the guy.
So Mary, let today's Friday, man. Go to Mayflower before the weekend comes. What's the faction wing of the Liberal Progressive? The Cece Goyo, the Terry, and all of those people, Edmund George, and what are they forming their different? They're doing their own thing. Where are they? Well, you see, other than they can look like a gravel, and you see them.
Yeah, but you see, what I see here is that the Cece Goya, I think we got to Mayflower on the platform tonight.
Yeah,
the Liberal.
So you know they make a protocol. I think he can.
Yeah, the Liberal. To be frank with you, I don't know what are they making any headway to help Liberia, because I see all their focus in the business as usual. Not gossip tonight. Let's start with Cece. When Cece King called say MCS Inspector General,
right?
That's a fight.
One day changed agent. He started living on the Presidential Avenue, Sanction Avenue. He just like a liberal. The changing color, trying to confuse people here.
See, you have my disappointment again. I thought by this time, Cece, the liberal, and Colin will learn from mistakes and see how best they can patch. Best they can patch their backyard.
Somebody get anything go. I was saying message to one more jen. Look at you ready to come for bad.
Hey, you see your life tour. You see
the life. The man, he doesn't need the call him to take care of MCS. He said
I say a good for auto had the professional gas for people to jump out of the hole and get back.
Is it for your life?
I mean, we call you here. I have to introduce you. Can you hold on, please? This is not a regular show. He doesn't want no job. They're going to be superintendent for MCS. He wants Zanzibar Kawa job because he wants to stay here to make flour.
No, but you know what? But you know the new thing I learned from Cece? That position he took and backing it with the biblical phrase, by fire, by thunder, and force that puppet to appear here, I couldn't even believe it. I'm telling you, looking at that puppet painting, I said, "Oh, I gotta go make some clarification." The clarification he even came to make, he even made it worse on the.
He make it worse.
Again. I'm telling you.
And you said that I called that somebody called me and said, "Oh, your guys in down there, that Mrs. Man, bad man. He put somebody in your, wrestling is my favorite entertainment thing too." He said, "Why will you sit down there allow Sissy to go put a superintendent in your total submission tapping?" Oh my God. But I was surprised though. The Cece Goya that I know that can argue or that can something, it looked like he sent it out for the professor. The professor came to really monitor the whole conversation. So Cece said, "I'm not gonna go there where he said, who can remember?" I said, "Wow."
The part that already clipped my wing finally. When the man said the internet is in different language, I said, "My God, in Russian language." So the question now is, CEO, what happened to all our IT guys in our country, Deba? What happened to these guys? So when Cece was saying some language in different, I thought actually you were making fun.
Yeah,
so I went there. I was still dangling, But when the man himself confessed, he said, "Yeah, something are in different language." And I said, "What kind of paper is this?" That's why I came from to ask him, "Your private school you've been running, do you have a website?" He said he wanted to dodge it.
Let me that topic because Dr. Malik got zero power is a him. They made a crew man. I who be creating my problem. They make you on the show. I try to be nice and kind of he won't fight, I won't fight. I said when I fight, we'll talk about it here. Then Mother Jackie, I got my question I will ask, and then because I got to leave, then get profile the whole thing. Ask the man about personal school, then he left it, but I don't know. So,
Yeah, why don't when you see a coming now, then he coming with on a market range argument too. Okay, guys. Look again. My apologies. I could have sent a message earlier, but there's a lady that passed once, Mrs. Reeves. I think she said she served in the police she was a colonel in the police. She passed away. The Waykeeping tomorrow we're gonna be there again. You know, that's part of the community. You know, when they call you live in the time, hey, I bake you now. Yeah. And interestingly, because there were some friends, a lot of people that I saw, and it was amazing. Oh, why a guy? Oh, your guys were not being. I said, no, trust me. From here, people came from Minnesota, Baltimore, Delaware. I mean, just all over. I think it's a very huge family. I like, okay, but from here, now after a week, the other one and are going on the Wisuruku tab going on now. There was somebody say it's like death is a kind of another disgrace in itself, because when you die, people sit down there, do that and say, go, life goes on. We are having a great time. We will be to a so time. But it is why it is. Our thoughts and prayer goes out to the bereaved family. And so to our followers, those are some of the community work that we do here. In as much we need your help, but we also like to be an impact into what you do, be it your wedding, not just other that it shouldn't just be only funeral, your weddings, your whatever memorable day, anniversary, graduations, baby showers, family reunion, wherever you are, as long as you are reachable, even if you don't have to be in my state. You can be in Minnesota right there. It's cool. We can do anything. Technology now has enhanced significantly. There's a way that we can get it to it. There's no way we're funny. Okay, guys, good to be here. We would not be here as usual hour, but we signed up for this thing. And so when people are anticipating to come and you don't show and you don't say any message to them, it's sort of disrespect to them. So I was forced to jump in here tonight. Let's open this microphone. Did I hear say CDC have a new chairman? Is that true?
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't know who the new chairman.
Yeah, the name I try to. I'm going to take a Jankat Kawa. I'll try to profile that name or what it is. But anyway, that's not the only thing here. But let's open the mic here. What's the latest now? The last 2 days I've completely been off the hook. Crazy way people job work can never end. You go, you do it. I think they're gonna finish the next day. It add up. But I think this war crime code, they 10-year position still, they are all still a issue. Should there be some sort of revision to take a revision of this? It's my thought. The issue of this 10-year, I think it was meant perhaps to put Liberia on the right trajectory, to establish some sort of law order, some sort of assistant integrity. It was it on a Helen, right? Yeah. I'm not sure whether it was meant, whether she had a political or she had some sort of agenda, but I think it was meant to preserve certain institutions to make them more independent group. But unfortunately, politics infested into these institutions, and the real purpose was derailed, and we are into this chaotic situation. So, Mali, I will hold you there. We'll talk a lot. We'll be on CC and make him to jump from in a cave he can. So I will be nice to him right now since he's here. So, CC, was it a mistake or something good was just diverted by people and mismanaging it, maybe coming from the healing side? What do you think was the essence? What were they trying to achieve, seeing what is happening now? It was just mishandled?
Well, I think it was, in spirit, it was a good thing. 10-year positions usually in government, and most time it tended to just have some balance, some stability in some integrity institutions, right? So you want to have some accountability and some effectiveness. And so here in the United States, for example, we have tenure positions. You remember the FBI director, Trump didn't like him. He was appointed by somebody else. Again, they had all this issue. At the IRS also here, you have tenure positions. Right. You have the Drug Enforcement Agency. They have all of those pieces. So it is meant to somewhat be to create a semblance of this entity not being deeply involved in politics, not being politicized, so that you are not acting because the person who brought you there can fire you anytime at will, and so you have to bend to them. So imagine if the FBI, for example, was not a tenure position, then the FBI director will be acting like the Boy Scout of the current president or whoever that president is, right? Because you know that person can just let you go whenever, and so when you start investigations, sometimes the long-term investigations will be very difficult to be carried out. And so that's why you have these and places like the IRS. And so I think Ellen was thinking, the spirit was, you have these integrity institutions that will transcend presidential term limits. And so that, you know, their appointments, they're not tied to when the person who appoints them leave. In spirit, it was good. Now, in implementation is where a lot of things in Liberia goes to die, because we're really good in laying the foundation and laying the systems out. Where we fail is where we go back to review the system, to check for gaps. I was just listening to my brother, Dr. Mali, talk about his research work, where you're doing literature review, and you're looking at how does that align, and where are the gaps, and so what we fail to do in our system most of the time is that status check, is that system check. Because here in the United States, for example, when Social Security and Medicare were passed as laws, they weren't perfect. But as time went by, as gaps are noticed, they are plugged. There are legislative fixes. You fix those pieces that are not working well, that you didn't see, because no law from its conception is going to be perfect throughout. Right? There are going to be times where it's going to cease to be perfect. And so what I think is always a failure for us is it's difficult for lawmakers in Liberia to pick up laws that they have passed, to collect data and see where those laws are not functioning well, where they might be causing harms or where there are gaps, and to be able to provide fixes to those gaps. Because now we're looking at a tenure law, right? You got people in the Senate who hold the responsibility in the legislature to fix whatever it is, because there are gray areas in this thing. And these same people will go jump on platform and say that and talk about that. When you are the one supposed to be going back and saying, oh, this is a gap. How can we plug that gap? How can we get this from being gray to be either black or be white so people can see strictly through it? And if you don't do that, laws are meant to be challenged. People are going to come where they see ambiguity. They're going to put their foot in there. It's always going to be like teenagers. If you got teenagers in your house, you know they're always testing your boundary. They're always testing boundary, right? You got to keep telling them, no, I mean 10 o'clock is bedtime. I mean 10 o'clock. I don't mean 10:01. I don't mean 10:02. When I say bedtime, it means you're actually in your bed and you don't have your TV on. When I say the TV is not on, I mean like it's completely off. You're not using it for light. You know, you got to keep fixing that over and over. And that's how laws are supposed to be. But sadly, in our country is now, we pass it, we're done. We don't bring it back for review. We don't do assessment. We don't collect data on it to see if it's working or not. We pass it, we wipe our head, we move on. And then we, the same people that are supposed to be responsible for fixing it, will go sit on platforms and talk tabata. You know, when you fight, it's supposed to be your work to fix it.
Yeah, the war review is a key word here. And Mary Jones, Dr. Jones, opened this Pandora box with it. Because part of the work of a revisions is just to sort of digress, to retrospect, where did I go wrong the last time around, to where we fell below the belt, how can we improve this system? So say with this here, then I think the entire system, then that's where the problem, because we don't go back to see where we fell short, where some of the policies, you know, we don't, what should I say? It becomes some sort of a gentleman arrangements. It's not a policy that will be on the book for people to act on it. Today, you director, you just could create your own stuff there to get your way through. It's not rating. It's nowhere. It's not in the handbook. It's not in the policy for employees to live by it. The next day, Dr. Jones comes. He made. So let me go to Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
So now, with this whole training here, has anybody really explained from the government, be it from the past or present or the creators of this whole thing here? Do you think the concept of it was it fully interpreted? What went wrong? What is the missing link?
Well, I think Sister stress is a very key point here. The phrase integrity institution, that's the key here. But from what I see now is that this thing, I think it emerged under Helen Johnson Sirleaf. And Helen Johnson Sirleaf, we know her background, and she strongly believes in these things as an individual. And I think it's from that backdrop she introduced this thing. But what I notice now, the controversy in this whole thing, where people try to fight it when starting from the ex-president, when he came, started evicting people all by force, it gave me an idea that we are not up to speed yet on this type of thing. Yes. Helen brought it, she stood by it, and she defended it.
So, do you think
that,
yeah, quickly, because when you use the word evict now, it's a force, it's a
yeah, so it's like
action for
right now, from real time up to this time, it seems to be we're not up to speed to make the thing part and parcel of the running of government in Liberia. And like we still come from that background where a sister can appoint John Brown to be 6 years here. When I come, that African mentality, oh no, they may got to go. They may got to go. But the missing link here is, how do we maintain this integrity institution all by itself, to be on par with other countries? I think that's the key ingredients here. But it seems to be people are not looking at it from that point anymore. Starting from the outgoing government, okay? I'm the president, but I think the mentality, I'm the president, and I should just appoint everybody, and it's stated clearly in Article 50 of our Constitution where the president appoint everybody. So I think where things went wrong is this. Helen believe in this thing. The rest of the people that are coming, I don't think they believe in these things. All right. So now you will be surprised to know that people are now pushing for the thing to be scrapped, to be taken out of the book.
Okay, talking about Helen belief before Sissy comes in. Was her belief, was it ideological, or was it something that she, there's an expectation of me, the name Helen Johnson Sirleaf, her roots and all of that being in the vanguard. Let me inject something. Let me bring something that is strange, that has not been embedded into our governance system. 10 years. You're going to go there for 10 years. You're going to go there for 5 years. Do you think there was a lengthy conversation? Even if the president brings that on board, I'm wondering here, you a research guy here too as well. I'm trying to figure out how was this debated in both houses of government? And if so, how are those contracts with those people that are taking those positions? What were some of the factors you think?
Well, first of all, you and myself know that Helen is a trained Western politician in practice. She went to Western schools. She knows more about these things. She knows much about Western governance and operations. But the point you just brought in, that new phenomenon, that new philosophy, I don't know at what point you were able to really market it to the lawmakers, and they had to swallow it and let it pass. And today now, some of them are even finding problem with it. I think that's the gap. Was there really sufficient information? Did we read the Constitution? Because this thing is a law by itself, you see. and it has a lot of problem with the appointment capability of the president. You see, so at the end of the day, you and myself, we are in the West already. We know how it operating. Sister just gave an analysis how that thing is entrenched in the great United States. All right, and the people believe in the integrity of institutions. Whether you president, you just coming in, and they hold on to those value systems. But the question now is the gap between our people and the new concept that were introduced by President Helen Johnson Sirleaf. In between there, I don't know whether people decide to just give lip service to it at the time when she was in power, or some people say, oh, by the time she lead the team, we got to throw it, or the president got the power to just appoint everybody. And when you see the African politics from that dimension, I want to strongly believe that they are not tolerant to this type of modern things. I don't think so. And so when they hurry away and put it into motion, Helen is gone. She's no more in the picture. So today I was even concluding that I hope we're not rushing with war crown code and we're not understanding all the dynamic involved. And when Joseph Boakai put it into motion, the day he not in power again, it becomes that the tenure issue, people start fighting one another. Oh, the thing shouldn't have come. Oh, the CIA shouldn't have come. I was just making a comparison today.
So, Sister, that would be forced to ask you, was Helen, I wanted to, it hard to determine the directions of the minds of the politician because they are very calculative and they are very skillful because when it works for them, they will restructure the scenario, they will make it look great, they will explain, and there will be some hidden facts. But do you think our lawmakers, do you think there were some critical people to say, okay, this sounds good, but what will happen down the road? How can we sustain it in terms of the regulations, the conditions, the terms and conditions to be applied? If Sister taking this position, Sister, you're taking a position in the next 4, 5, 10 years, we want to see you wearing blue cap. We want to see you wearing red cap. Don't get into your feelings. It is a positions or it is institutions of integrity, and we want it to remain as it is. Do you think those sort of conversation will help? Seeing why it's unfolding, because there are some people who favor it, and there are some now walking back because it's no longer, they are no longer in the fries. It's not the game of switch or whatever it is.
So for me, is whatever law you pass, there are going to be people on both sides of it. For me, that is not an issue. The issue is it clear? See, something can be clear and I don't like it. That's different. If it's ambiguous, and that's an issue. Dr. Mali just talked about the issue of the presidential power to appoint. And I've seen a lot of people argue that is their reason for getting rid of tenure positions. And I've seen a lot of people on the other side say their presidential power for the president to appoint presupposes that there is a vacancy.
Yeah.
Right. So then and that is the ambiguous point. Both sides have a point. So I think, like in the US, when things like these arise, you go to the Supreme Court, the final arbiter. When Al Gore and George Bush thought they had won, each one they thought they had won, and what a certain ballots should count, hanging Chad, Dempo Chad in Florida, remember that? They went to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I remember the then Secretary of State, Catherine Harris.
Yes.
The
issue of Roe v. Wade, people have been testing how far it goes. What is the extent? And courts have been chopping away at it because Congress allowed for ambiguity, and so the courts had to interpret. And you saw what happened lastly. The issue of the Civil Rights Act, this Voting Rights Act, the Supreme Court, because there were ambiguity and other stuff, certain states started to challenge certain pieces of that. And they started chipping away at that. And that's why you see people always say that Congress need to act. Congress need to pass a law to fix this. So we go back to it's the same thing. The issue of tenure was to create some impartial, impartial government agency and agents, and so that they will be insulated from political influences, and so they will perform their duties without fear or favor. That was the intent, right? And so, to the extent that we are finding gray areas, it is now either incumbent upon the legislature to sorry, there is a Amber Alert going on. There's a child missing in my neighborhood. There is so that they either fix that, or we rely on the Supreme Court to have a ruling and an interpretation. It will go with that interpretation. And if that interpretation is narrow, then the Congress has to act, the legislature has to act to see how they augment or fix whatever seems to be broken in the law. The problem is that even in developed countries, there are laws and people have to challenge them, because laws by themselves most times create ambiguous situations and people have to challenge them. The problem is not that people are going to quote for me in Liberia. The problem is the people that are supposed to fix it, instead of going in-house to fix it, and the people on talk show talking, that's the problem I got. It is your responsibility. If you have two lawmakers and they both don't agree on what this thing means, and this thing came from your house, then go back in house and try to clarify it with an amendment. But don't do it.
Okay. You now bring a red meat, and I'm going to throw it on Terry. Mr. Collins, good evening. Welcome. Jones, we hit the house, started jumping in from the crab hole now. Sissy King, Sissy now sent text to Terry. Blue Terry Naka. The Apara Libra is having a great time.
No, I actually sent a text to Breakable, but I think Terry got it on the way before that.
So Breakable.
Yeah, I remember. I think a lot. I think when you sleep, you say you'll be dreaming, you'll be calling your knee, because he will talk everything. When he doesn't hit at you, forget it. I think when my man Aaron, I can enjoy Aaron and Terry. Aaron will talk. Terry, that even on live, you can't answer Terry. Okay, Mr. Collins, good to have you here. I'm going to go into your playbook, what you really have in mind. But, there are a few concerns. This 10U, what was the other thing we're talking about? The 10U positions, the war crime code. Well, politicians are very calculated, very strategic. I know how to go about. Let me ask you this ridiculous question. I want to be like your deliverer here this evening. Do you want 10U positions to remain enforced in Liberia?
Well,
answer, then we ask you the follow-up question.
Mr. So very tricky. Well, to be honest with you, I want 10U position to be held, to be in Liberia.
Do you have specific institutions that you think should have this 10U position?
Right. I believe there are certain institutions that should have a 10U position.
Let's do a grocery list here and see, or political list. What's your number one?
Like the election commission. The election commission is number one. Secondly, the GAC, the auditing firm, should have a 10U position. And other areas too should have 10U position. But the way our government is settled, the way our government is instituted based upon the Constitution, the president, the executive branch have so much power when it comes to employment. And I think that is where we need to take another look at the law in those regards. But obviously I think President Boka felt that he had a chance and he had a shot, so he took it. And especially when you are being advised by legal counsels and all of that, because the law says that, the president, when the president nominates or when the president recommends somebody and they get confirmed, those nominees work to the will and pleasure of the president, and that law gave the president power even over 10U positions. So there has to be a stronger law to enforce 10U position. because
who will be the enforcer of that law?
Well, I think the House of Senate or the House, the full House, the two houses can decide to enforce, can decide to create a law that says that all tenure positions should not work to the will and pleasure of the president. All right. If you say that, then that means that those tenure, because even in the code of conduct, it tells you that the tenure positions, all right, it does not fully supersedes the president's authority or the president power for his appointed position. You know, it does not supersede the president authority. So it means that
you said that's in the tenure law that it does not supersede the
in
president.
in the code of conduct, I read certain kind of law that says that. Yeah, I put it in the group chat the last time. If you go back there, it's still there. So that law does not give so much power to the tenure, to those who are in the tenure position, that they are completely exempted from the president's, from the president's authority. They are not completely exempted. So anytime they go to the court, the court will almost like rule in favor of the president, because the executive branch have been given too much power. That is how I see it. Except somebody want to contradict, to go on the contrary is okay. But what I read, according to the code of conduct did not really fully empower the tenure position, in so much so thereby giving them a complete exemption from the authority of the president. That is how I see it. That is why it is being contested. It is being contested because there are legal advisors that have seen that there is a loophole on the tenure, on the tenure position in the code of conduct. That is why they believe that the president can take advantage of it, because they see that the law is not strong enough. So in my opinion, the law need to be fully enforced. It need to be strengthened. It need to be added on with other restrictions that will give it strength enough that the president will not be able to override it. That is what I believe.
Let's scramble. Oh yeah, you try to confuse me. This is not a labor here, so don't start your tabata. That's not going to work. Hey, Mr. Dr. Prince, Ruth, good evening, Sekou Sharif, Maridolo, Newman Boyka. Oh, we're now. Oh, okay. I almost said you said Newman Boyka. All right, I said Newman Boyka. And Mr. Benziman to Benedict, thank you guys for being here. So, even the code of conduct, is there like what we try to present? Is this something like we're trying to? Because the code of conduct, all of these laws are not being adhered to. People.
Yeah, the people don't follow the laws.
Yeah, but the same people who are supposed to adhere to these laws are the violators.
Thank you.
They are the violators. This is where the frustration sometimes kicks in here with the first branch of government. Because, and to the point Cece we're talking about, when you saw, at least some days here, you look at both Senate and House, both houses of government, party, their leaders, they sit and to cut deals. I don't care how tough it is. Mitch McConnell, the cuckoo man, even the McCarthy, who's paying the man and kicking out. Sometimes they sit with Democrats, right? And they can talk when it comes to a government shutdown or whatever it is. One lie you saw, even when Yombi Kanga Lawrence was in the Senate and the strong opposition leader, to sit down with somebody from the CDC. And one lie you saw Akara Gray say, okay, let me sit down with the other person from the Unity Party or maybe Liberty Party or whatever, independent person.
They do sit down, Mr. So. The people can talk.
I'm not talking about Jaja going to drink beer. I'm talking about telling Mr. Collins, I'm talking about, hey, I am a senator for Grand Bassa County. I'm from representative for NDP. Why am I coming with NDP? Coming from CDC. Liberty Party or Unity Party. But there's one thing we have in common. Our representation for that county, whether from a different district, but we'll take the holistic approach. You representing Grand Bassa, I'm representing Grand Bassa. It's only we are from different region, but overall, that's why they have the caucus. I am saying when last this person will say, "Hey, I'm getting this bill here. Hey, I know you don't let me. I'm a CDC. I know you don't let me. I'm a UPAS or whatever it is. This is what I'm trying to put on bill. This is what I'm trying to put on bill. I want you to be the co-sponsor. Take it and carry it home. Review it. Let's have a tomorrow. We're going to have a lunch somewhere. Let's have a conversation." They don't. They want to call one person, press conference, slam his or her friend, call all of the names, and when it comes on the floor, once it's in the favor of their party, other people go for it. Yeah, let me learn quickly here. Then you come and then I'll throw it to my good friend here. The Mali is a good friend here. You want to make friends with me here, but that's not what happened. You see, the election needs to take place, yo. Mitch McConnell, not why they said Mitt Romney and other 3 senators, they came out with their position already. They guy are bringing out, we're not voting. We don't see our people taking strong public position very suddenly. And this is where because when you do that, it also sends a message to your very party. Look, as much as I'm for the party here, but I'm looking at the big picture for the good of the country. Take it away. And now banking system.
Yeah. You see, Mr. So first of all, Liberia is not an intellectual political society as compared to the advanced stage of, intellectualism on the political scale in America and other countries. We're just getting to evolve into intellectualism. That is why you see a lot of people get podcast, media, and all that. Liberia, we do that kind of rough politics in Liberia. You attack the man, you curse the man, you count on, you call all kind of things about the man. That's the kind of politics we do in Liberia. And all of that. But on the tenure position, Mr. So, this is my view, all right? I think that some of these positions, to make the law on those positions strong, let these positions go for elections. Let's forget about the tenure thing. President nominating these people. Because once the president is nominating these people will be compelled to work to the will and pleasure of the president. You tell the man that the president can nominate a man, but the man should not campaign, the man shouldn't do this, the man shouldn't do. How? So you give somebody a job. I give you a job. Then in the end, I'm benefiting from the job you give me. Then in the end, I come back to say, during your campaign, I say, I'm not campaigning for you. I will not show my face anywhere because the law says. That is the reason why people don't respect the law. But the only way the law will be, the law will... Huh?
You talk something very important. That didn't come to mind. And I'll see what say he always on the other side of the world. Maybe I can bank on Marley Jones to do it. Those 10 positions. Yeah. To be like almost like an elected position. That way nobody mess with it. Oh, I told you, they go now.
You want elect directors and how to call it election commissioners. Wow,
yes,
that would be something. If I would become even more corrupt, because that person now has a constituency that they got to be careful that they need re-election. And there is nowhere in the world where election is
guaranteed. That is
nowhere in the world. Because then people then have constituency now. Now they too got to be going out and doing. They got to be doing that too. Because they got to get re-elected next time. So how do you expect that person to conduct an election? I won on the ticket of the Unity Party, and the Unity Party got somebody contesting. You think another person lose? Because I need my Unity Party to stay and vote for me next time. That is
pour some acid water in our throat. Let me see.
That is his view, but it can be contested.
It's a convoluted one. It's a hard one because the way NASA come with a whole say, and say, made me say I got tired on right now. Jones,
yes, sir.
Can rescue me. Yes, say now we are trying to find solution. Now say has inserted something into this whole thing. He has politicized our conversation that we try to keep I try to get in line with Terry here. He has politicized the whole thing now, we all say, because when people start doing that, it definitely means they try to get their owner to in their closet to be with them. You agree with him?
Well, partially.
Oh my goodness. Today Friday, that's a good one for me.
Yeah.
Ah,
When I use the word partially because, first of all, we got to understand the nature of politics we have in Africa. We got to understand that. Okay, let's get back to what Colin just said about the National Code of Conduct that was passed into law by the great men. Let me take you back to 1.3.16 nepotism. It says, it reads, when a public official appoints, employs, promote, or recommend for advancement family member in any agency of government or branch of government in which he or she works, that's nepotism according to this code of ethics. Helen danced into this thing. What did the horse do? That's the first question. Nothing. Helen brought her two boys in the thing, and we know they play a very major role. We know the story. We know that. Besides that, the issue of the ambush man, the horse should have put this guy in play long ago, up to today. My congratulations to Joseph Boakai for announcing the appointment of an ambush man. And he almost like the chief administrator for the whole code of conduct when things go wrong. Like the tenure thing we're talking about now, the ombudsman ought to be sitting on the cases before it even go to the court. It was never ever done. So the National Code of Conduct is like it just a play thing. We're not up to that standard. These are concepts we keep borrowing around, but when it comes to our way of politics, we don't have that zeal. Like Colin said, we're just getting into this thing because other people inside, but we're not ready for it yet. All right? Then let me just bring the other controversial aspect now. If Joseph Boakai really believed in law and order and the Constitution of Liberia, he should not have appointed anybody in the tenure era. Not at all. He shouldn't have done it. If he really believed in our laws, he should not have done it because he know.
Is that violate? Are you saying the president violated the law?
No, the president did not violate the law. The president just don't believe in that law. I'm talking about we're going one step up. He just don't believe in it. That's why he appointed these people.
So if you don't believe in something, can you violate it because you don't see it as a law? That isn't it applicable to that term, violate? Because he didn't see it as a law, so he act upon it.
Well, that is
going too extreme.
Well, that could be another technical debate. I have not researched detail in that, but I don't believe he don't believe in it. Because if Joseph Boakai had the belief that, oh yes, Joseph Boakai is not a stranger, they passed this, they passed the law. The Joseph Boakai government 2 years ago. So
okay, Sister is looking at you. Hold on 1 second, because why your interpretation is giving now is like Black Dragon revenge the death of Bruce Lee. So yeah, because you say they passed the law, they ignore the law. Joy Wiakin, kick Isaac Jackson.
No, don't bring Joy Wiakin into the picture.
No, I'm not saying other people did it. So
no, not other people did it. Not that I don't want
the point I'm driving to. I'm coming to the presence of President Joseph Newman Boakai now, who do not believe in the law, in your own words, and I'm trying to figure out your true definition of who not believing in the law. If he preside over this as the president of the Senate, and this thing it went into effect as a law, I think if it was done through a piece of legislation, I think if there's anything, it must be repealed. The same lot of people will come back to say, okay, you know what? This thing also 1 or 2, 3 years ago, we didn't want it again. Then you undo that. That wasn't done. I don't know what's the fear. You're scared, so since it can come back at you or Terry to say that the president violated the law. But
No,
if you say,
but then let me throw another unpacked question to you too. Hey,
I
Joseph
I am the one that asked you a question. Now you can't ask me
now. If Joseph Barker then presided over this thing, he knows about it. He's not stranger to it. Why is he not living up to that expectation as president in his government? Why?
Dr. Jones, you're not answering my question. Cecil, let me bring you here. Dr. Jones is publicly indicting the president of the Republic of Liberia. I'm afraid what I hear is Safoko, then other than having this sort of conversation that to call for the president. I know where you want to impeach people for, but let me just bring you here. Is he making a point?
I don't know, but I think Mali is making some points. But my thing is, for me, it's not what Joseph Boakai respects or what he doesn't respect, what he believes or what he doesn't believe. And I think Mali got a point, but I want to take a bend on that point. Because if we have a strong and independent judiciary, then it doesn't matter what somebody believes in or doesn't believe in and what the thing should be enforced or not enforced. But sadly, Mali prefaced this by saying we have to focus on the politics in Africa. And if you focus on the politics in Africa, then Mali is right. Because then what the president believes or doesn't believe carries weight. Remember in this country when President Trump tried to end DACA and people took him to court because he didn't believe it was right. He went to court, he lost. You know how many times he tried to get rid of Obamacare?
I know,
Because he didn't believe in it. He had to go to he went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said it was legal. He went down to the legislature, to the Congress to change it. Remember that famous John McCain vote? When he killed it?
Yeah.
And so there will always be leaders who look at certain laws and think they're not in the public interest or that they violate the overall constitution. And so when those leaders come, we should be almost every leader, every really smart leader should be looking at all of the laws and saying, where can we challenge certain things that constrict us? The Sierra Club, which is a very powerful organization that tends to deal with a lot of issues surrounding global warming issues, they always will go to court to prevent the government from selling oil leases and other fracking and other things because they believe that they're violating the laws. Joe Boakai right now they have several lawsuits against him for some mining concession contract he handed out on indigenous people land. And there are lawsuits that say he can't do that, right? And for me, maybe I'm trusting way too much, but I do believe that if we have an impartial and independent judiciary, here's where the tenure come in again, because those people are tenure. They're not supposed to be changed from president to president. They're not supposed to run for election to say, I want to be Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. And so when I lose my term, you can take me on the day Kabina Janet. Then people know that it doesn't matter. I don't owe you anything. You appointed me, but I'm not here to serve, and I'm here to serve my people. So you can't take me out except for costs, right? But because we don't have that, and I got to go back again to what Dr. Mali says, that we focus on what happens in African politics. And if we really bury our heads into what happened in African politics, then yeah, the president's beliefs carry a lot of weight. But I really truly want to believe that President Boakai, having served as Ellen's point person in the Senate, as a president of the Senate, when these 10 new laws were passed, and Jeremiah Kuhn, who is now vice president, who served in the most recent legislature, when they tried to remove tenure from some of those positions that had tenure, and then that thing went to conference committee and dying there, that these people understand. I will hope that they have read at minimum understood the spirit and the intent and the written four corners of those papers, what the tenure laws are. So for me, I want to give the president the benefit of the doubt and say he's doing this maybe because he thinks he's in the right. Because again, there are causes for which you can remove people from tenure position. There are causes they're spilled out. So I keep saying on this network, for me, I will hope that the president, I will hope that he and his team have done enough due diligence to understand and read the law so that they don't go to court and make fun of themselves. Because if they do that, they will have some of us to deal with. You just cannot go ahead and put in jeopardy some people's living, because those people you're moving from those tenure position, you're taking, you're taking a livelihood away. And if you're doing it unjustly, you're doing it unconstitutionally, then that is sad. You can't do that. And even the people you were appointing to go there, knowing fully well that they will not be going there, you put them up to public ridicule, which again is horrible. So I really want to believe without.
But didn't the court rule in favor of Yakpawulo?
Yes, the court rule in favor of Yakpawulo. I really want to believe that they have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
My only thing I would say everywhere, and I keep saying over and over, the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia has to be the final arbiter. We cannot go back to the days where the Supreme Court rules and some people say, we're not doing it. We cannot do that. If the Supreme Court rules, you don't like it, you have the right to say, yeah, that ruling was wrong, but you have to live by it. Yeah, that's what we're doing in America, yeah. Supreme Court rule and took away Roe v. Wade. People protested, but it is what it is.
That's it. There's no another point.
You try to fix what you thought was the reason they got it wrong, but you don't go and say, "Oh, we're not even reinforcing. We don't care." And for me, that is the clarion call I keep sounding. If our democracy must survive, if our democracy is to get stronger, we ought to believe in the courts. We ought to go to the courts every time that there is ambiguity in the laws. We ought to go to the court and allow the court to interpret. And once the court, the highest court in the law, interprets, it is what it is. Then I have to quote my former ANC chairman, a CPP chairman, the law is the law. You just let it go on.
Musa Belede.
For you don't, I'm not be part of you.
Jerry.
Let me ask a question. As CEO, when I brought President Bouaka into the picture,
you're scared of trouble, you gotta bring trouble till you come back with it.
Yes. No. I said when I brought President Bouaka into the picture, he's one of the main architect of this law. So are you telling us that he was doing lip service to President Johnson Sirleaf, but he just kept quiet so that when he in the driver's seat, he will circumvent some of these things? It raises a whole lot of questions here. Because President Bouaka, at this point, an architect here, should be the first to say, look, the tenure thing, we gave birth to this child. We'll protect this child. We're not appointing nobody to this thing. Then,
Dr. Jones.
I come here, CEO. Then, the president had not come out to tell us that he's raising Kwan with Sese because Sese violated the code of ethics as a tenure man, and so I'm taking him to court. I have not heard that before. I have not heard that from the United Party.
So, Dr.
When you
Jones,
violate anything as a tenure person, who can hang on that to remove you? But I have not heard anything of such.
So, Dr. Jones, using your own word, I'm a free thinker. Do you think there's a probable cause, or do you think now President Bouaka told perhaps there's some sort of loophole that you don't know about, I don't know about, regarding this training for which he's making those appointments? And like what Sister said, if they go to court, if the court decisions, if the court, especially the Supreme Court, not a lower court, if the Supreme Court hands down decision, people should be able to respect and not pass by this court again and say, oh no, I'm going to use, you can't go use another executive power. No clemency in that one, the court decision, because if that happens, then you're going to cut the functions of the court. So, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Let's create a probability in this whole thing here. Do you think perhaps there's some sort of loophole with this whole training? Mala is digging us some trouble thing here this evening, but I try to see what I can give another version of it. So do you think there's some sort of loophole that those guys who made this law, they know about it. We don't know. There's some sort of gap there that they can capitalize on, that even if people went to court, they can have the day. Do you think there's some sort of gap that is hanging somewhere there that we don't know? But the document is out. Is there any other piece of document somewhere that we don't know about? That maybe at the end of the day, the office in court. You never know.
Yeah, Mr. So I think that's what I said earlier, that if the president knows that he cannot touch, because like certain tenure position, the president is not even going after because he knows that they are exclusive. But if the president is being advised by his legal advisors that there are certain tenure positions that he can tamper with, and it will be in the scope of his jurisdiction, then that means the president must exercise his rights to do that. And like what Mr. Mali is saying, that, oh, the president should respect the law, but if he does go against any position, he's not against the law. That is what is critical, because Mr. Mali is speaking from this place of, from the position of the law. So he cannot be aggressive. He cannot say, oh, the president is wrong, because the law could protect the president for what he's doing. And we just witnessed one in the court, when the court interpreted to Minister Wilson that, hey, this position, you off from this position because you didn't even follow the requisite, the format that supposed to really put you in this position in the first place. So the court did not even waste time with that. So will this continue with the other tenure positions? After these people go to court, will the court interpret to them that, hey, you know, blah, 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 according to the law, maybe you guys broke the tenure law according to the law. It says you shouldn't campaign, you shouldn't, like we were on the show the other day when the guy from MCSS came here, all right? And what did he say? He said that he campaigned. Somebody asked him the question. He said he fully campaigned for President Weah and Nathaniel Magay. You understand? But so this is the kind of man you want to keep in the position.
You said he wore a barrel.
Yeah, he said he wore a barrel and all of that, and you were boldly saying that he's a Weah Shen on the show, even in a tenure position. Now, how can you effect change? That is the reason why political leaders in Africa take certain drastic measure, and then we start to become sympathetic. Oh, you know, the law said the reason why the people don't follow the law is because there are people that honor the law that do not respect the law as well. So as a result, in order for the government to work, they know that they will not be able to work with those people that are not respecting the law. So they will use the same law to get rid of them. And I do not see nothing wrong with that.
Sister, tell me that bad guy. You see, he was planning so soft. By the time he saw Elvis, he decided
You see, Mr. So now you want to.
All the men that we are sharing.
Mr. So you're a smart man. You know the guy, you're trying to punch me right in the gut. Why it hurts?
Mr. So is a pusher fire behind the
Mr. So that will make you aggressive. Ever please take that with me to net. Yeah, we're not inside.
They don't like to see someone who they perceive to be a stranger. Tell what cool here. By the time you suffer, you see all your hands start moving, emotion and this and that. Okay, so let me start with you with this hot pepper here, and you can plead the fifth if you want to. President Weah, did he violate the code of conduct, the tenure position? Let's be honest, and let's turn the camera out. Was there any violation on his side?
Well, you can't say it was a violation against the president himself. Like Terry was saying, the individuals who occupy those positions, it could be argued that they violated, the statute that, created his tenure positions. But as the enforcer of the law, you can't take action without going to the court first to seek redress. It's like somebody saying that my neighbor put, fence on my land, so thereby I'm going to get a bulldozer and break it down. You first have to establish to the court that this is your land, and this person is violating that, encroaching on your property. If the president felt like, these people broke the law, the court will be the one that will remove them, not the executive branch doing it arbitrarily. That's what we have an issue. Because if President Boyka claims to be a man who respects rule of law, and you just arbitrarily, remove people from their position because you perceive them to have broken the tenure law or the tenure statute, that's not how things work. You have to go to the court, give those people due process to defend themselves, give their position, and if they were indeed, in fact, in violation of the law, they will be removed for cause. That's the key in that clause, for cause. So you don't decide the cost. You can't just say you fire for cost. This is not America where anybody can fire you from the company because they don't like the way you look. They don't like they don't like the way you talk or the way you walk. They can fire you for any reason. Like Bureau, it has to be for cost. So in that case, the court will decide what the costs are, what the cost is, and then you'll be in your legal right to remove that person. Well, it's not legal, but just a hypocritical stance I want to point out. People are saying that these people are being political by campaigning and so forth. But the reality is the people who are replacing these people in these tenure positions are themselves political animals. Themselves were on the campaign trail with Joseph Boyka. So you expect these people to just become mute, politically. Once they get there, they forget a political identity and they're just neutral. It's not going to happen. But go ahead, Mr. Slow.
So is there preconditions of these people prior to occupying these positions? Is there some sort of in their contract, there's some sort of a red line? Yes, this is a tenure position. You can't do X, Y, Z. Is there anything stipulated?
I think in the statute, if you read it, it says something about being apolitical. And in this country, being apolitical, I think it has to do with when you're carrying out your duties as your, in that position. You can factor in political, biases in your decision making as a LTA boss or as whoever, whatever agency that has a tenure position. You can factor in your political biases when making decisions. But we are all politics, or we're all politicians, and we're all, people who we're political animals. So in America, you can't tell a man who served in a quote unquote tenure position not to go vote for a Democrat or not to contribute to a Democrat. It's against his constitutional right. He has the right in the freedom of association. You can associate freely with any political institution you choose to, but your political biases cannot influence your decision making when you serve in that capacity at that ministry. So I think that's where maybe the law has to interpret it for us to understand it. But I think the president was being lawless by just trying to fire these people arbitrarily. I'll leave it there.
Oh, so before I go to Sisi, was President William was he lawful?
He did. He actually did. He went to court and he actually lost that case. And he had to settle with, I think, Martin Colley, whatever the guy's name was. He had to settle with him. And after that, he didn't try to fire any more people. He respected the law. So that's what President Boyka should have done.
Axel Jackson?
No, the court actually ruled against Axel Jackson.
No. The court ruled to go to status quo ante. They ruled him to go to status quo ante. And the president even refused to give him a passport, refused to give a family passport.
You gotta read the case again because there was another platform that had lawyers that discussed that case. You have to read it.
There was a court order that said they should return to status quo ante.
Right.
There was a court order for the Supreme Court. So yes, it was there, and they did not settle with Jackson, and they even refused to give him a family traveling documents.
You say that, but just before I came on, I heard you talking against the fact that the president was being lawless, and he shouldn't have done it, right?
Whose president are we talking about? Talking about George Weah or Boyka?
No, Joseph Boyka.
Yeah, but I'm talking about George Weah. You said he settled. I said he did not settle because he refused.
He settled the case with Martin. That's what I said. I'm not talking about Isaac Jackson. I said Martin Colley. They settled that case and they pay him the remainder of the salary.
You are going different places. But let me correct a few things you said here. In America, in tenure positions, it is specifically written when you are in those tenure positions, you are not supposed to campaign. You are not supposed to make political contribution. It's in the law. There are people that have been called before Congress for that. Here, you are not. And the other thing is in the laws in Liberia, it specifically states you should not campaign. It didn't so apolitical does not. It didn't just say apolitical and left it. They said you should not campaign. It's in the law. Go read it. So to argue that because people who campaign with Joseph Boyka are now coming to office and will be put in those positions. Therefore, people who are in position that also campaign and getting fired is somehow you equating those two. I can't understand that. The law does not talk about your prior. It talks about when you take office. When you take office, you are not supposed to campaign. The law does not apply to people who don't have the position. If I am not the head of LTA, the LTA law does not apply to me.
I made a caveat. I said it was not illegal. It was just being on the point of hypocrisy. I made that caveat.
Because you're comparing apples and oranges, and that's muddying the water. The other thing you talked about, that the government, before they take action, they should go to court first. And then when the court ruled that, yeah, that person did wrong, then before they come back, they fire them. George, we didn't go to court when you got rid of Isaac Jackson. But beyond that, in responsible countries, if the president feels he has the right, he fire you, you go to court. It's not the president supposed to go to court. Let's put a few things on the table.
Really? What's the due process?
Let's put, hold on. Let's put a few things on the table here. Because first thing, you try to say in America, somebody can fire you for how you look and where you look and everything. And that doesn't happen. Like, bro, I don't know where you work, my brother, but where I work, you can't just get fired for how you look or where you look or at will.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, so let's just lay that out here.
What is at will firing? What is at will firing?
Yeah, there are states that you have at will, and not all states. So let's try to codify that.
Minnesota is an at will state, right? We both live in Minnesota.
Union is not an at will. Minnesota is
no. If you work for a union, most people don't work for a union.
In Minnesota is Texas that it's at will. Minnesota is not an at will state. You should check that out. It is not.
No.
Minnesota is not, and there are laws in the state of Minnesota against discrimination, against.
Yeah, you can go to jail for it. You can
termination.
You can reimburse somebody when you fire them on lawful.
And there's been a lot of lawsuits there from key Edison. There's a lot of people.
Yes.
So let's move on. That was you try to muddy the water on there.
No. I will get my point to rebut you, bro.
The other thing is when President Trump tried to get rid of equal pay for equal work for women. He didn't go to the Supreme Court to check it. He just got rid of it. People went to court and sued him, and he lost. Teenage pregnancy prevention, education in schools. Trump didn't go to court and say, "Oh, I want to cancel this." He just canceled it. And people who felt that they were a breach, they went to court, and he lost. The Refusal of Care Act, he also lost on that. E-cigarettes legislation. He didn't just say, "Oh, let me go to court and see if I can do e-cigarette or I can do e-cigarette." So the president can terminate if he feels that he has the authority. You who have been aggrieved, you go to court.
Right.
Can I respond?
But Mr. So, can I read this real quick concerning?
Let Terry make a point. Yeah, Terry.
President Weah, right? President Weah made an attempt to remove the tenure position at the Maritime Authority. Do you know that? It's here on Front Page Africa. Moreover, President George Weah has submitted a bill before the legislature that is seeking to amend certain positions of the act establishing the Liberia Maritime Authority by removing tenure positions to grant him full authority over the institution. The bill is titled An Act to Amend Subsection 1, 4, and 4 of Section 7 of an Act to provide for the establishment of the Liberian Maritime Authority relating to the appointment and tenure of the Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner of the Liberian Maritime Authority. So, there were a lot of things that President Weah was doing, my brother. You understand, eh? That went totally contrary against our organic laws. All right? But on President Boycott, we are going to address this issue. And if the court rules against us, because in this case, President Weah apparently realized that he wanted to take an action to override on the House of Senate so that they can amend the law to give him full authority to override tenure position at the Maritime. And now not only the Maritime, many other tenure positions, he wanted to have full authority over all those things. So the only thing I see seditions worrying about is that it is now coming back to them, and that is what they don't want to agree to. So they're trying to hold President Boycott to a standard that they're trying to say, oh, because they are not saying President Weah didn't do it. They agree that President Weah do it, but they are pleading that Ambassador Boycott supposed to be better than President Weah. So they're not condemning President Weah for the act. Instead, they are massaging President Weah and then holding President Boycott, compelling him to do the right thing. So that also informed me that you guys are expecting more from President Boycott, which is a very good thing.
Okay, let me respond here quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that people are making the argument on is precedent. The Supreme Court has set precedent on this issue with the Martin case. They said that his firing was not just; he had a contract. They remove it even from the tenure position to to a contractual agreement that the government had an obligation to fulfill. Because these tenure guys have a contract with the government for a length of time, and if you fire them without just cause, you must fulfill the contract to its term. Or if you can come to an agreement, you can give him a portion of his salary for the for certain numbers of years that you have on the contract. There's something in law. I'm no lawyer, but some people say if the law isn't on your side, you argue the process. That's why you see people win cases on technicalities. Sometimes you would think that the defendant is completely in the wrong, but maybe the way that the police obtained the search warrant, the way that the police, went by doing his work was illegal. So that person get off scot free. So if you're making the argument that the law is on Joseph Boyka's side, fine. I can say the Supreme Court will be the one to interpret it. But if you do things, if they follow the wrong procedures and they follow the wrong process, they can lose the case either way. Even if the law was initially on your side, if you follow the wrong process, you can still lose the case. So my point here is you should have went through the courts if you felt like these people violated the statute, and let the court determine that he was wrong. You're citing, cases from Trump, and most of those cases he lost because perhaps I didn't read all the judgment in those cases, but perhaps he acted arbitrarily without going to the courts to seek redress. He acted, as president. You have certain powers. You can do executive orders, or you can't just go and overturn laws, especially if it's laws that was passed by the Congress without first, repealing it. So if you go contrary to those laws and you take it to court, you'll lose because you didn't do it the right way in the first place. So
Okay.
that's the point that we're making.
All right.
Can I make one
Coming to you.
correction?
Yeah, coming to you, Jones. Before your correction, let me just add a layer onto it. We'll be getting out of here. Next 10, 15 minutes. I mean, it's already late. We've got to get stuff to do tomorrow. What is the way forward now with this whole thing?
Is that to me?
No, Jones. Before he
Okay.
wants a correction, Jones, you can make a correction and then put forward something. I mean,
Yeah.
you have your own form of government you anticipate carrying to Liberia. So maybe I don't know whether you will abolish the tenure or whatever. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, we'll get to the way forward. But the point of
And the
correction,
firing squad and make everybody.
there be established on record that President Weah was one of the lawless president in Liberia. He violated Article 20A of the 1986 Constitution, which gave the right to all Liberians a due process. And the correction here that in the Mountain case, he did not go to the court to tell the court to remove Mountain. He used his executive power to remove him, and he challenged it, and he went to court. So can you consider that as a violation and the president behaved illegally?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Very good. All right.
And the court ruled on that. So now Boyka should have learned from the court decision and not do the same thing that we had did. That's the point.
The court did not rule on the process. The court ruled on the legality, not the process.
Martin took his case. The president did not tell the court this man got to leave. No. He used executive power, and it was challenged, and the court decided to fight for Mountain, making sure that all the legal ramifications are put into place. So he violated that man's rights, and that was wrong. So when we talk about precedent, Joseph Boyka is not on record or removing anybody here. I stand to be corrected. I come in now. Let us not jump the gun too fast. I read the dailies every day in Liberia. I have not seen anywhere where Joseph Boyka has made appointment to tenure position. This is what I know. And most of the men that went there, they were very respectful. They were dignified. Some places they even rejected.
They were eminent.
I come in now. Some places they even rejected them. They did not carry squad to say no. We'll burn the place down today and we don't enter there. They left peacefully. All right. So, except you tell me one of the places where Joseph Boyka removed someone by force and the person went to the court, then I stand to be corrected.
You say you read it daily, regularly. Did you read that the Supreme Court put a stay order that he can't add any people to tenure positions? Did you read that?
Another question.
No, no,
They're removing
no.
someone illegally.
Why would the Supreme Court? I know there was a couple of places that people were. No, I will give you one example. I will give you one example.
Remove someone illegally. It's on record.
Right, and that's what I said, and I agree with you. The court. How do you know he removed someone illegally? Because the court ruled that he did it illegally. So that president was set by the Supreme Court.
Not the court. It was in the paper that he removed.
No, they went to court, Mr. Mali Jones, and the court found that the president was wrong and rude.
It was Martin that took the government to court because he challenged President Weah.
That's what I said. They went to court, meaning the government represent.
Martin went to court. That make it
no, the government has to be there to represent itself. You can't just go to court.
Yeah, but I think those cases, the person who takes the government.
They say for the government to educate the government that you don't go that direction.
No, the point is, Mr. Shaw, the man would not have had to go to court if he was not fired unjustly. So you don't go to court, preemptively that somebody will fire you or you foresee somebody firing you. Once the action is taken and you deem it to be, illegal, then you go to court for redress. And that's what the man did in the Supreme Court ruled on that case. And once the Supreme Court ruled on that case, they have set precedent. And this is what we're dealing with now. So the current government should follow the ruling of the Supreme Court. That's the point.
I want you to name me one person that Joseph Boakai, took out of office illegally. I want you the 10 just name it to me. I don't know.
We will open our other court tomorrow. Is Saturday. I think everybody to do it. Let's put forward a solution here in our closing argument here. Let's put forward a solution.
So the boss name my quote. My solution is this. My solution is this. This tenure thing is too advanced for us. It came from Helen Johnson Sirleaf, who is a pragmatist. She, wear okra with a Western thing. But from the African setting, this thing here will be resisted all the time. From the African setting, and how we tribalize our politics in Liberia. And looking at our constitution, where you get Article 54, 55, and 56, supporting the president appointment power, there will always be controversy in this thing. So I would suggest for now, since we used to it too heavy for us, we should scrap it.
We should let it go.
Yeah, let it go. So we get because that's what we want. That tribal politics will run it. We can make up with America on that kind of issue. We don't like it, but we pretend it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone agree with me.
So, Eric, we'll find a solution now. When we talk about these problems, let's pretend they will listen to it. And they do listen to the conversation that we have. Trust me, people listen. So let's put what do you think is the way forward with this whole tenure? What are you in line with Matt, Dr. Jones?
Look, when laws are passed, it has to be repealed through the same form in which it was passed. If you have to go through the legislature and repeal that law if you think that is one, unconstitutional, or two, doesn't serve the people well. So if the president thinks that this law is unconstitutional, one, or it doesn't serve the nations well, or it's not in the best interest of the people, he can repeal it. And you have to go through the legislature to do that. But secondly, people are being pressured. I think Emma Glasgow, who is at Fishery, who is seen to have done a pretty good job at that place, was being pressured to resign from a position that is tenure. Some people think it shouldn't be tenure, but you can argue that in the courts. But you also, what happened with the eminent Reverend Chairman Luther Topper when he went to the I think it's NASCORP or wherever he went and try to strong arm those people to turn over the agency to what a woman named Brother. And they took an official letter from the president, right? Some people were trying to find the cause. On Facebook, you'll find the cause why they wanted to remove that because he was sick and he came, I think, to the United States on leave. So that's cause in their mind. That guy wasn't being political. but most people account he's been doing a decent job at that agency, but they try to remove him. And they even took a presidential green letter there showing that the president had relieved him of the duty and appointed his new guy. And the people refused it. And the Supreme Court, I think a week or so ago, ruled that until the issue go through the court, there should be no appointment to any tenure position. So for me, I think tenure positions are needed, but I think maybe it's too much of it. But you have to go and repeal them if you want to take certain tenure positions away, because it was passed by law, for it to be established. So for me, I just think the president should slow down. What's the rush? You have 6 years. By the grace of God, you'll go through all 6 of your years, and you will put all the people that you want to put in place. So relax. This thing will go to the Supreme Court in the next few months, and you will have your answer, and maybe you'll have to go ahead to fire all the tenure people and put all the people that you want to put there. It's that simple. So just be patient. My solution is patience.
Terry, are you listening
Yes.
you listening to this guy counsel he providing? The president should slow down. And wait for who?
The Supreme Court. Supreme Court to rule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sounds like Jefferson Koji. But anyway, Mr. So and all of that, President Weah did not only do that thing in 2020, he started it in 2018. He started it from 2018. What I'm looking at here is President George Weah present bill to the legislature seeking the cancellation of tenure position within the executive branch of government. That was in 2018 by front page. Then he went in 2020, he went for the maritime position. So this was not something that he was just trying to do. But the way forward, right, that you're talking about, the way forward and all of that. Because I wanted to ask Evis, whether if President Weah leadership, after President Weah leadership, or we're in the middle, did you see any tenure position that were occupied by any unity parties? After, let's say after 2020, were there any tenure position where you know of that unity party was seated, were in President Weah government?
After the tenure expired?
No, not after that, while they were in the tenure positions.
No, the president, the one person he removed arbitrarily there was punitive damage to the president because he was forced to pay that person's salary in its entirety. So he took the president didn't want to stay there anyway. He got his money and he left. Well, after once the person tenure expired, the president can appoint people who he wants. It's well and pleasant.
Let's not rather get this on here.
Anyway, so let's move forward, right? I still remain on my position, Mr. So that
left.
Martin got the money and left. I think it was almost like three or.
It's on record. They never paid Martin. They threatened him, so he had to flee.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, I don't
want
to
make speculation. I don't know.
Let's move forward, Mr. So. I still remain on my logic, or my opinion, or my ideology that tenure positions needs to be elected positions. If we want to make tenure position to be absolute in the sense that they will be more powerful, my senior brother Sissy said that it will become political and all that. Every position in the government is political. Every position. There is no position I see so far in the government that stands on its own, exempted from politics, including the Justice Ministry. I listen even to my friend, my friends, then they say, the other police security apparatus. Take, for example, look at this guy from Freedom FM, all right? And all the kind of things, people giving information. So all these positions of government are political. If the tenure positions were elected, especially the election commission position and many other positions like superintendents position needs to be elected position.
Superintendents are not tenure.
Yeah, they are not tenure position, but they are
elected officials already have tenure position because they have a term. So it's tenure by definition.
Like you made a point, we are out of time.
Superintendents are not tenure position, but I'm also adding superintendents there. That even superintendents positions needs to be elected position. And tenure position, in order for it to be strong and absolute, exempted from the executive interference or any branch of government interference, it needs to be contested for and elected for. I think that is the best way forward to put all these things to rest.
Okay, so send her home.
Yeah, I like how Terry opened up and say my man speaking like Koji, but then he and I are speaking like Koji I look,
that's my opinion, Sissy.
And these two guys, I stay here, stay trying to argue the past. I get my brother, stay trying to talk about somebody should go to court first and figure out if I can fire you before I fire you. In every case on this planet where it's between an employee and an employer, is because the employee has been terminated and they feel that they were unjustly terminated and they go to court. That is how the process works. I don't go to court as an employer to see if I can terminate you. I don't do that. And before I say, okay, yeah, the court said now I can terminate you, now I'll fire you. That's not how it works. It's never worked like that anywhere in the world. When they tried to remove Christopher Wray, it was the same thing because it's a tenured position. So the president was within his power. If he realizes that he thinks that is the law, he follows the law. The point there was he didn't go and grab somebody and forcibly remove them. He appointed somebody, and those people have the right to go to court. And the Supreme Court will rule on that as the final arbiter. That is how it works. And if the president decides or realizes that the tenure law is not working, yes, he can go through the legislature to get rid of it, but there are other ways to get rid of it. Is to act counter to it and let it go to court and let the Supreme Court declare his action illegal or declare that law illegal. That's what happens in this country and a lot of other democracy. That is how Roe v. Wade went away, right? And that's how a lot of other things went away. And so for me, I don't really understand the conversation here. But for me, for the love of God, that I have seditionists now thinking that for some reason they are the party of laws. I still want for them to really get back to Nancy B. Doe and see they not pay her money, even after they lost the case in ECOWAS court. They still refuse to pay the Omar money. Oh. But now these are the people that want to talk about laws. The tenure laws are there for a reason. And my brother Collins, I understand your point you're coming from, where because you think a lot of people are interfering with these things and therefore they should go to election. I think if the people read the laws as were written and followed them, we wouldn't have a need for what you're calling for. But I see a lot of chaos if we were to follow what you're calling for, because all of the justices on the Supreme Court are tenure position. They will be going for election. And if I am the Chief Justice elected on the CDC ticket, then I have to make sure that my constituents are always happy with me. Versus if I were appointed by George Weah, a CDC president, but I know that I don't serve, my tenure is not tied to his tenure or to his will and pleasure, then I will go ahead and deliver justice without fear or favor, because I don't have a constituency that I'm looking forward to. If you're telling me that all of these integrated institutions that have been tempered, we should have election, and police director will be having election, will be voting for justice minister, will be voting for internal affairs minister, and when you're voting for the members of the election commission, who will run the election for their eletion? And
they choose their own people. They bring in their own people.
And you see, now here comes the problem, right? And remember that there's going election, people accusing Director Brown Lasana of being in the pocket of the CDC, and there was a whole lot of things people were saying.
But why was that? Why is that? Why do you think is that?
Listen, because people always have rumors and they're wrong with things. There was
but that's because the people felt that
because they wanted to discredit the election. They wanted to discredit the election in case President Weah won.
They will still say that about you, so that does not change that way. Even if you elected, we say it. So that doesn't change that. The point I'm trying to make here is, what if she had been elected and she were really a sedition elected on the CDC ticket? What if? Or what if she had been elected and she was actually an ANC partisan on the ANC ticket? You think they're 1.5?
But she still is. One way or the
she
other.
Still is what? She still is a politician.
Anyway, I'm not going to read into something that I can't prove. My point I'm making here is that it will create a lot of chaos if you say the GSC run for election, the election commission,
LTA,
the judges run for election. It will be more chaos than Q.
Terry,
Well, let's understand one thing before we leave. Tenure position
But
is
you
a
see,
contractual position. They're not people that serve at the will and pleasure of the president, so to speak, like
Right.
civil servant or appointed officials. They
Yep.
have a contract with the government. They're
And
almost
but
like
they
a
you
always
quasi.
serve by the will and pleasure of the president. They
no,
always
No,
serve
not
at
everybody
the
serve at the will and pleasure.
you can be removed for
the
cause.
two elections, the three major elections the two elections we had in Liberia under Madam
okay.
Sirleaf were
Right.
all because they were all CDC felt that they were cheated because the elections commissions were all appointed by the president. It was never fair. Even this going election, if President Weah had brought in Nebudisky, I know Nebudisky or whosoever, they are different thing we're talking. It was even clearly revealed to everybody in the country that the president wanted to cheat these elections, and he had the ability to do it. You could even see how they enter ground formal in many areas. So you know that's my opinion. It may be ridiculous, it may sound ridiculous to many people, but I think that what will make the tenure position independent.
It's one ridiculous. It's not just
No,
ridiculous.
it's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, Mr. It's you know,
Okay, guys. Look, we're gonna leave it here. Until,
all these people. Anybody your point.
I want to draw attention to one significant point here.
what's that? Where you going?
We keep talking about the code. We can't compare America law and order system, judicial system with Liberia. In the first place, the State Department 2022 Human Rights Report on Liberia, the judiciary is clearly spelled out there.
My man, I want to go to Liberia. I want to go to jail. So be my
it clearly states denial of fair and public trial in our country. Then where we're going to go be dancing when we have not even addressed the State Department concern? So we have legitimized the court process in Liberia now. So everything is business as usual.
My man, you saw how the people can grab the whole.
I'm putting the State Department report that we believe in, we have accepted.
Dr. Mali, I will not talk anything about the courts. That the people that can grab whole profit and put it on personal.
Joseph Baga will grab you at the airport and tell you to go to court to free yourself. You're not taking the court to arrest you. You'll tell you to go free yourself after you've been arrested.
No, but Evan,
everything
that the State Department stated is a united party prepared to look into some of these things and make corrections. Or we just throw it outside like
you say
you assuming that
we just throw it outside like what?
So can you please ask Dr. Jones? He said he a consultant now. Who is he providing consultancy?
You see how you let problem?
No, I ask a question.
No, your question will answer it Sunday. Sister want to ask you a question.
I got no question. I hear you.
What you said more than two after that. Why you get answers about it yourself?
The doctor is equipped, but he got a lot of
If we say we are going to throw the paper outside the window like we are did, then it's very surprising.
I see more research paper coming up.
Mr. Goya, you gotta challenge somebody else to not argue on the tenure position, just like you did it to Professor Zawula. So maybe Saturday I can have your own show to argue on the tenure position.
I do one violent show every month. I
don't you don't do every day.
But Evis, to be frank with
when you see way in my heart, like
you have people. The lower board at the crew board, so when you wear a crew jacket out there, you have anybody that come away.
So trust me, I trust Sese. If he decided to take on this case, he will be more than the Supreme Court because he forced that puppet to appear here.
I'm first time for the moment on Saturday, I'm watching that show. I had to listen to it too much.
You know, the next thing I want us to form a coalition on is getting these party bosses, these people who elected positions in the Unity Party that are serving in presidential.
No, that one will not work. It will not work.
So say that. Let me finish the thought. I didn't get it. I didn't get the concept. Finish it, Mr. Gold.
And you waiting for my pressure, Terry?
It will not work.
These people who are
It's constitutional.
Is what?
Constitutional. It has to do with the Constitution.
I'm not arguing Constitution.
Then that one is not going to work.
So is Luther Tapper still serving like the Emotion was say concomitantly as the chairman of the Unity Party and the LPA chairman?
Hold on, let me argue double dipping today, man. Saying doesn't.
Why are you asking that question there?
Oh, now your question you want to ask?
And you are maritime boss and the Sintan Party chairman, campaign chairman.
Right.
No, campaign chairman. Campaign is a temporary thing. Party chairman is a permanent position.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yo, hold on now. I don't want to my team. We said CDC was not doing good. We kicked them out of office.
Yeah.
Right. Not for us to kind of do the same thing they were doing.
No, not everything CDC was doing that were not good.
You got away with
Oh, now you know that everything was not good.
people there all
Yeah, but not everything.
That's how I brought Zawolo here. You will watch me. I will bring the people there. They will move from there. Because I want that my own kitchen. I will let it fire in our kitchen.
But that's it.
You look at the pedagogy here. You're used to that word about on that side of it.
Are you going to start with a broom?
I'm going to start with a broom.
Okay, very good.
Amos 12. You cannot.
That broom, a small broom. That's not a long broom. It will not move. That is small broom.
Your men will hear my voice. Amos 12. Even though they pastor now, you won't hear the other sermon. You will hear this. Amos 12 cannot be Secretary General of the Unity Party and still be a managing director at Lpr-Tv.
Yes.
When he's doing Unity Party job as Secretary General at that time, who paying him? Is he on government payroll at that, on government clerk at that time? When does he do that work? That is.
And you got a parable that you can work two gun. I know you can two gun.
That double dipping. Is he using government?
But no, sister, it's not double dipping because the party is a private institution where the government is.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. The party have a constitution. Once the constitution, your advocacy is good, but is it constitutional?
Terry, last time I talk about electing people, here with me to my own. If the reason I call it double dipping is about time, it's not about. So say 12 goes at 2 o'clock to do party work on a Monday to write a press release. Is he supposed to be at LPRC at that time at 2 o'clock? Who is gaining at that 2 o'clock time? Is it the party or the country? And on a moral level, if these people feel that the country was so bad, they came to rescue. That was the word they used, rescue.
They should be working overtime, not just even full-time.
That requires a full-time position. All hands should be on deck. Not bringing
even if we work overtime, still to you.
Don't even say that there. Don't say that because of the excuse you're gonna use. We have a message of the country so bad with their 2 years to visit that next campaign slogan. There's a party coming wrong.
Dr. Jones?
If it will take 2 years, why they working part-time? Why they can't work full-time? It will take 2 years.
That's what we're saying.
But we're working full-time.
All right, guys.
We're not beyond full-time.
I beg you, yeah.
Listen, not be realistic.
We don't talk about his board chairmanship to go ask somebody to resign for last one.
He job in government. He was the chairman of the party of CDC. Reverend Tapper will go be preaching and still be chairman. Let him lead the board.
Well, your advocacy is well noted, but we will deal with it constitutionally.
My man,
okay. The message not everybody United Party now is saying we freshmen.
I'm speaking for Honorable Boca. I'm not speaking, but I'm still somehow, you know.
I know. So thank you for inviting me. I gotta go. I'll let you guys
deal with you constitutionally. So you know, yeah.
Good night, gentlemen.
You see, I said we are the only two independent. You see the political raving, the argument here tonight. Let's hear the Ima carry on. We'll see who.
You still think that Dr. Jones is not political?
Dr. Jones? What?
Dr. No. Jones. The man wrote in a dissertation, the beginning, they you know how you dedicate to people who have helped you. They may put a party that helping along the way in there.
I see you. You're good there. They want to spoil you to me, but you can't wait. They're here. There are 2 Minnesota politicians, liberal called them. They were talking.
Doctor, I like your background, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this background. These are some of the outcome of a very advanced consultant.
Guys, you're good now. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
the upgrade. Yeah, thank you.
So if you want me to link you, it's just like he's very expensive. I can link you guys.
But
Okay.
call it, man. You have MCSS small so they can change the language at least.
You're good now. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, that does it this evening. We actually we had an obligation with the community, so that prompted us to come on very, very late, and we have to keep that out tomorrow. The late Madam Reeves, she will. There will be a funeral tomorrow at Ebenezer Baptist Church, and Lpr will be there to bring you live happening. We want to thank you so much for your time this evening. Let me see here. I think I saw my man here. The chief technicians of Sky Radio, my man Ben. Good morning to this early morning hours awake in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. We want to thank all of you so much for your time, your comments, your tweets, and those of you just bumping into this network for the first time. You can get us live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much. Hey, Fatu, is that clap for me or the clap for Liberal? The Liberal is not here tonight, so I think I have to claim this clap emojis forcibly here for me. It's not for Ben. It's not for Ben. I'm not sure. Maybe I've seen you on this network, but this is the first time we say we highly appreciate your time with us. Hopefully, this will not be the last time. We always accommodate voices, whether you like it, what we say, you agree, you don't agree. You have the right to argue your point as long as it is done in a safe context with intent. We do not leave no voice behind. It's all about Liberia. So all voices matter on this network. Thank you so much. To all our members. We always like to get a feedback. Hey, my man Trocont, how you doing this evening? Thank you so much for always checking in here with us. Abel, Deconti, Siliki Kamara, thank you so much. Rose Peter, Daka, Rahim Kamara, Benedict Eastman, thank you so much. All of you great people, Susan, Paul, Mama Jones, Daniel, Tamadi, Tracy, you guys are so phenomenal. Do not leave these national conversations with only us and all of these talking heads. All the they're doing, they are paving their way. You must speak for yourself. You can make your own case. You can argue for yourself. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening by God's willing. We'll see you Sunday for more news and information. Thank you so much. You can drop your comments, your suggestion as to how we can enhance our broadcasting, our conversation as well. And I always say this here. To the female, we have a lot of men here. I think we need to get the house balanced. If you want to be an analyst on this network, just reach out to us. The number is 682-433. It is 02 433 8802, or you can just send message to us. And this lady will be coming on. She based into Europe. She has followed us and she has expressed her interest. The only thing I say, well, get a tasting as well. But we are working on modality. She's going to be joining the group here as well. So if you do also have an interest, let us know, and we're going to have that conversation. Have a pleasant evening, and by God's willing, we'll see you here in the coming days. Yes, Sunday we will be back here by the grace of God for more news, information, and entertainment. Meanwhile, tomorrow, the Bible District Association, tonight is their welcome party. Tomorrow going to be a crazy busy one. In the morning, going to be having a live view from the funeral. And tomorrow, Saturday evening, summit, French men say samedi soir. Too much of work without a play make Jack a dull boy. So we're going to do some boogieing down tomorrow. Probably District Development Association's inaugural event. I will catch you. We're going to be bringing some live images. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.